Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the webinar on Bill Addendum Merger. My name is Mbeki Ndlela. I work as a technical consultant here at the CCS offices in Centurion, a city in the Gauteng province of South Africa. It is my pleasure to present this webinar to you. Today, I'll be discussing the Bill Addendum Merger, which is a tool that can be successfully used at the bill preparation stages. Due to the large number of people logged into this webinar today, we will not be able to answer any questions. However, you are more than welcome to submit your questions during the session by the use of the provided function on the screen. At the end of the webinar, we will revisit these questions individually and send the answers to everybody that registered for this webinar via email. Please also note that the webinar will be recorded, which means a link will be available for downloads. It is also worth noting that there's a webinar once a month on various candy topics. So even if you are unable to attend the webinar at a given time frame, please do register for one, as this will entitle you to receiving a recorded copy of that webinar. We will now get started with our webinar. On our agenda today, the following topics will be discussed. First topic, what is the addendum merger? On our second topic, I will explain the conditions where the addendum merger becomes necessary and also discuss the advantages of using this tool. On our third and last topic, I will spend some time showing you guys how the addendum merger works. So, first topic, what is the addendum merger? In construction, addendums are usually the additional or secondary documents that we receive from clients. They contain bill changes such as addition or deletion of previous items from the original work specifications. It can also be a rearrangement of these items or some alterations of their original specification size or quantity. Regardless of what these changes may be, they normally require more administering by those responsible, as this is something that usually takes place after a lot of effort had been directed at measuring and pricing sections of a bill of quantities. By the time we receive these changes, you'll find that we have spent a lot of time linking bill items to subcontract packages or linking them to a long list of activities in a construction program. And to start from scratch and recreate such links can be a very dispiriting task. And above all that, it can be very time consuming. Now, addendum merging can be seen as a process in Candy that allows us to import addendum items and adjust the current bill at the same time, ensuring that all the pricing, all the internal and external links created at that particular point in time when pricing the bill, all that work is not lost. This helps in retaining the integrity of all the work that had been done and also ensuring that time isn't wasted and that all the new changes are easily and well attended to. So, in a nutshell, we can say that the Bill Addendum Merger is the efficient tool used to ensure that current information is easily merged with the new information without risking or compromising the accuracy and information's integrity. So, how does it work? You will still need to create a job in Candy where the addendum information will be imported. This new job will be set as a master to the original job or the price job at the time. Now, using relevant columns, the addendum merger document will display the master as well as the job's information side by side, allowing you to easily compare the current and the new information. This comparison will include item numbers, descriptions, unit, quantity, and so forth. You will also get the right-click function And with that functionality, the differences from the master or the addendum can be inserted into the job. The lines or items that are no longer needed can be deleted from the job. And also, lines that are no longer needed can be overwritten with those from the master. And once all of the differences have been resolved, the changes to the bill can then be accepted and the bill can then be corrected and updated accordingly. Now, to demonstrate on this, I will go to Candy, and as we can see, I have my current price job opened. So the first thing that I'll do, I'll get out of this job, and I will start by creating a new Candy job. And this new Candy job, I'll call it Addendum A. Now, this is the job that I will use to import my addendum. So I'll access it, and then I'll go to build preparation. So each time in Candy, whenever you open a new estimate, you'll always be prompted to set a master job. Okay, so a master is a job that has been previously priced in Candy that can be used to import information from, which makes pricing very easy and fast. I'll click on OK for now because I do not need any master, so I'll go back to bill importing. I'll use this bill importing document to import my addendums information, and it is right there. Now this is just the normal process in Candy where we identify columns to which our information will be imported. And that is what I will need for now. And I'm happy with the information that came through. I'll then close this, get out of the job, and then I'll access the job that I've already priced. Now, the first thing to do, I will need to set that addendum as the master to this job. So I'll go to the list of the jobs that I have. There is the addendum. I'll select it and set it as the master. I will also maybe just quickly access it to see if the information is there, and I'm happy with this. I can close everything. Now, to access my addendum or my addendum document, I'll go to build preparations. That is where I'll find the option to open the addendum measure document. And this is how the addendum measure document looks like. The layout of this document, as you can see, will show the jobs information as well as the addendums information side by side. You can see that it has compared levels, job and addendum, item numbering for both the job and the addendum, bill description as well, bill units, bill quantity, and if you have any codes like the bill codes here, you can see that that comparison has also been done or shown to us by the document. Very important column though is the differences column. This column will actually show us the exact differences for each and every line. As you can see, for instance, in this line, the levels are not the same, item description is not the same, unit, quantity, bill code, and so forth. So we can then start comparing our information. Down here at the bottom, these are the buttons that you can use to move from one line to another line. It makes it easy for you to navigate this document looking for the differences. Instead of using the mouse, you can just use these buttons here at the bottom. So for our first experiment, we will start by inserting an addendum item. What this means is if the addendum requires that the new bill items are to be added to the current bill, there's a certain way of doing it, and then that is the method that I'll be showing you guys now. So for instance, my instruction here is to insert addendums item B, which is pouring of concrete in walls, and I must place it below jobs item N. which is pouring 25 MPa concrete in ground slabs. Now, the first thing that I'll need to do it is to align the bill items with the addendums items. How do I do that? I will need to select a range of lines in the job items from the first line up to and including item N, under which I must place the new item from the addendum. Now I'll right click in the selected range and select the option Ignore Job Items. As you can see, this will cloud out the selected range. Now, when looking at the actions column on the far right, we can see that these items have been ignored. Ignoring items simply means that if there were general changes and updates that I needed to do at this point, all of the items that have the ignored or the ignore status would not be affected by those changes. Now, if my addendum has items that are not supposed to be affected by any general changes, the same method needs to be applied in the addendums column. So this is what I will do. I will select a range of lines in the addendums items column which should be exempted from the changes. And in my case, those items are from the first line, and that line is line 20 or 21, just below the clouded out or ignored items. And I will select up to and also including addendums items A, which is pouring of concrete in foundations. I will then right click in the highlighted range and select ignore addendum items. This will result in the clouding out of the addendums selected range. Now, as we can see, the addendums items have been clouded out as well, and they will not be affected by any changes applied to this information. And we know this because in this actions column, these items have the ignore status, which means whatever changes that happens now, they will be exempted from it. The other thing that has also taken place is that my addendums items have been aligned accordingly, allowing me to insert the item that I want to insert into the bill. So the instruction was to insert this item from the addendum, which is pouring of 30 MPa concrete in walls, and I must place it below item N in the job. I will now simply right click on item B and I will choose the option to insert addendum item. Once this is done, we can see to the far right of my document in the actions column that this item is ready to be inserted in the current bill. This can also help the estimator to investigate and keep track of the changes he's made. If he's happy and would like to update the bill at this point, all the items with the insert remark, and in our case there's only one, would then be imported into the bill from the addendum. Now, when it comes to updating the bill, you have two options. You can either update the bill to this point or just update the bill. Updating the bill to this point is useful when you want to stop and record the work that you've done up to this far. You will need to do this now and again because if the addendum merger document is exited for whatsoever reason, all the work done and recorded up to this far will be deleted and undone, and the system will then reinstate those initial differences between the job and the addendum. Coming back to Candy. So the option to update the bill will change the current bill as per instructions in the actions column from the top of the bill to the cursor line. Another point to remember is that once the update process is complete, the changes cannot be undone, so it is advisable that you back up the job before doing any updates. So to do our update that we've done so far, I will just right click on the items that needs to be inserted in the bill, and that is the pouring obviously of 30 MPa concrete in walls, and I'll select update the bill up to this point. These are just the instructions or the warnings of what is going to happen as soon as we click on yes and update the bill. So you can go through this before accepting the changes, and then I can click on yes, and the changes have been done successfully. And as you can see, our item has been inserted or imported into the job accordingly. Now, this was just a simple exercise to demonstrate how to insert new items from the addendum into the job. We also have other options. So you can also replace and delete job items. If the addendum identifies a mistake or a change on the job, whether it is a spelling mistake or a change in item measuring unit, item number or quantity, or any of the inconsistencies really, such changes must be corrected by either replacing or deleting that particular item. Then the bill can be adjusted accordingly. So in the example that I will do now, I have a bill item with a spelling mistake as well as the differences in bill items quantity. And remember, where do I see that? I see that under the differences column. So there's item description, unit, quantity, and bill. So what I need to fix here, as you can see, it says vertical framework to size of foundation instead of vertical formwork. So if I look at my addendum, I see that mistake has been fixed as well as the quantity has been changed in. So I will need to use that information to update this information with a mistake. How do I do that? I will select a range of lines in the job column from the first line up to, and this time I will leave out the item that needs updating or replacing, which is item A in our case, vertical framework to size of foundation. Once I'm done with that, I will right click on the highlighted range and select ignore jobs items. Same as before, all the items that have been ignored will be clouded out, and then we can work with the information below. Therefore, to ensure that the items in the bill aligns with those in the addendum, I will also select a range of lines in the addendum items from the first line and also leave out the item that I will need to use to update my bill item, and in our case that would be item F. We will leave out item F, of which is vertical formwork to size of foundations. Once I'm done with that, I will then right click the highlighted range and select ignore addendum items, and then the selected range will be clouded out accordingly. As we can see under the actions column, all of this information will be ignored, and it will not be affected by whatever changes that I'm about to do now. Now my following step would be just to right click on the item that I want to use in order to replace the jobs item, and then there is the option to replace, and then I'll choose that option. As you can see now under the actions column, should I update the bill at this stage, this item from the job will be updated and replaced by the item from the addendum, and all of those mistakes will be corrected. Now, that is how you would replace the items, but what if, for instance, the addendum instruction was to remove a bill item that is no longer needed or no longer relevant to the job? Then we should have an option to delete an item. For instance, the instruction that I have here, it is to get rid of item K from the job. So what I would simply do there, I would just right click on that item, and then I wouldn't choose insert or replace, I would just choose delete job item. And then as you can see under my actions column, as soon as I update this bill, this item will be replaced. Any items with that status there will be replaced, and any items that has the status of delete would be removed from the job. And remember, to update the bill, you just right click, and then you have two options. You can either update the bill to this point, we've spoken about it, or you can just simply update the bill if you wish to do so. And then you'll see that my item F now has been inserted into the job and it has been updated. And then the item K that we needed to remove has been eliminated from the jobs list. Now, to see the changes, I'll quickly just close this document. Yes, I want to close it and open my normal pricing bill. So you can see that I've customized my normal pricing bill to add the remarks column. The remarks column will give me an indication as to what changes took place from the addendum. As you can see, for instance, that there's an item that was replaced here, and then there was an item that was deleted from the addendum merger. So to see this, as I said, you would need to customize your normal pricing bill or any bill that you're using, even if it's the standard bill of quantities. You would need to customize that, add the remarks column, and that is where you would monitor the changes from the addendum merger. So let us quickly recap. What have we learned? After we've aligned the bill and the addendums items, the first information to pay attention to is in the actions column. The information in this column will give us direction as to what changes or new information will be inserted into the bill from the addendum as soon as we strike the update button. If the action is to insert the addendum bill item, then the item is inserted above the job item next to it. If the action is to replace the job item, the entire addendum will be overwritten by the jobs item. So if the action was to delete the job bill item, then the item will be removed completely from the job. If the action is to ignore in the actions column the job or the addendum bill item, then those items are left unaltered and will not be affected by any changes when the bill is updated. Thanks for your time, and I trust that these functionalities will help add flexibility to your day-to-day usage of Candy. Please remember to email your local CCS offices if you want to know more about the topics that were discussed today. We will keep you informed of the next webinar. And remember, if you're unable to join on the selected time, then please still register, and you will receive the recording, which you can then watch in your own time. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.